Here's another installment of 10 questions being answered from you guys down in the YouTube comments. If you've got those questions, go ahead, put them down in the comments, and I'm happy to answer those in the future in the next one of these videos that I do. My name is William Gaunitz. I'm the CEO and founder of Evolution Hair Loss Institute. I'm a practicing trichologist for over 22 years, and I have learned a lot in that time, and today I'm going to help share those with my answers to your questions. So let's get started. Does alopecia areata spread once triggered? Does it go away slowly? If alopecia areata is present, it absolutely can spread, and it doesn't necessarily want to go away. I actually have diffuse alopecia areata. That's why I do what I do, because trying to figure it out was near impossible 25 years ago. But with that, it can be managed with a variety of different things, managing your nutrition and eating correctly for your blood type, managing topically. You can use corticosteroids like clobetasol. You can actually go ahead and use other things like tea tree oil as well as rosemary oil topically, but it can spread, it can get much worse, so you want to control it as quickly as possible. And also you can go and get some Kenalog injections that may control it as well. I have a whole video on just alopecia areata right here. Another question, can inflammatory hair loss be caused by long-term exposure to allergies? Yes, that is a big deal. Allergies can cause all sorts of ripple effects in your immune system. You definitely want to get your allergies under control. There's actually a little bit of a lesser known treatment that Zyrtec, as an anti-allergy, can control some inflammatory hair loss from allergies environmentally or obviously just from food allergies, but you must control your allergies over time. Otherwise, the inflammatory hair loss will persist and get much worse. This question is, why would a product that reduces blood pressure help with hair growth? Well, interestingly enough, when you reduce blood pressure, you're actually vasodilating, so you're getting a little bit more blood to your extremities, so there's less of a restriction, which would definitely encourage more blood to the hair follicles in certain respects. I believe in this case they're actually talking about minoxidil. Minoxidil is a very unique compound, and it actually not only accelerates the volume of blood getting to the papilla, it will also create an extension of the growth cycle, which is very unique to just minoxidil. So you can't just hang upside down and get more blood to your scalp and get the same result. You want to obviously use minoxidil topically or orally to get the result of vasodilating. Okay, this one is, I'm using minoxidil for over 5 months with no result. Should I quit? Unfortunately, you're at a place now after 5 months. If you remove the minoxidil, you absolutely could be shedding. Minoxidil again extends the growth cycle, and when you extend the growth cycle, you may have actually been digressing. You just didn't know that you were continually digressing, and it has kept you in a sort of a status quo environment. So if you remove the minoxidil, you may actually sort of springboard forward and actually have some accelerated loss. So I would stay with it, and I would also then start getting the blood test, get vitamin D, zinc, iron. You also want to go ahead and look at your genetics. Are you losing hair from DHT? Add those things in while you're still using minoxidil, and then see if that actually kickstarts the growth. Can Ccca be reversed? Ccca is central cicatricial alopecia. It is a long set of words. Now, Ccca typically happens due to a variety of different things applied to the scalp, and is typically in African American females. Now, why that happens is potentially due to exposure of chemicals and an hyperactive autoimmune response on the surface of the scalp, usually caused by relaxers or dyes or things of that nature. Now, with this, it is a scarring alopecia. So once this occurs, you end up actually having the immune system attack the hair follicles itself, and when the attack occurs, it ends up typically creating a scar around the hair follicle and enveloping the hair follicle, which will not allow that hair follicle to be recovered. Now, oftentimes in this process, there is some reduction of growth prior to the scarring taking place, and that can be reversed. But if you end up having a high level of scarring, a high level of atrophy, that unfortunately cannot be reversed. In some cases, you can use hair transplantation to actually move hair from the back of the scalp to the area of primary concern and mask it a little bit, but sometimes that can be a little bit challenging depending on if your immune system is still active. So it is very challenging. I don't specialize in Ccca. It is not something I've had tremendous success with, so typically I will refer that to experts in Ccca. Next question, can you make a video on weight loss and hair loss and how we can prevent hair loss during weight loss? In that case, really, if you are losing weight and you're doing it naturally and you are doing it by slowly restricting calories over time and not tremendously changing your diet unless you have a very high inflammatory diet with a lot of sugars and a lot of trans fats, then you should be fine, because typically weight loss to the tune of somewhere around 2 to 5 pounds per month is usually fine. Now, if you have some crazy diet change where you are restricting calories and you're going, say, from 4,000 calories down to, say, 1,000 calories per day, your body will theoretically be traumatized and could create a telogen effluvium shed. In that case, you must make sure that you have an appropriate amount of zinc, an appropriate amount of iron, as well as ferritin, vitamin D3, which basically needs to be in the optimal range to ensure that you are going to protect yourself against telogen effluvium. If you have had telogen effluvium in the past, you are probably going to have a higher risk getting telogen effluvium from something like that. Keep the calorie restriction as little as possible, because if you do restrict that many calories, again, you're going to create trauma on your body. Now, if you're using any type of drugs, stimulants, Ozempic, different things that are going to then obviously change your body's chemistry, that is also going to be a higher risk. Be as gentle as possible on your body while you're losing weight, and it's going to be kind and healthful to your hair. And make sure your nutritional levels of, again, the key ones, zinc, vitamin D3, and iron and ferritin, are good. Okay, next question. Can we stop minoxidil gradually to continue with a Derma roller and rosemary oil alongside? Please reply. So in this case, if you're trying to transition off of minoxidil, I have an entire video right here on coming off minoxidil, then you have to be very, very careful. You could end up dumping hair, and it's never worth it. When you dump hair from a minoxidil shed, trying to come back from that is near impossible. Your body ends up expelling all of this hair that would have fallen out anyway if you weren't using minoxidil, and when that happens, it is just so challenging. And we've tried in 1,000 different ways, in the clinics to recover hair from these types of sheds, and it's just very, very challenging. So actually, if you're going to follow the protocol that I've deemed in this video, then it could be helpful, but you need to mitigate all of the underlying reasons for loss, and I would not recommend it. I would just stay on minoxidil daily or even every other day and just continue with it so you keep your hair and get the best results possible. Next question. Have you treated inflammation with massage? And massaging right away is a plus for me. I steam and with aloe vera and neem powder. Well, this is very interesting because neem is one of those things that's very, very anti-parasitic. So it's going to end up killing the Demodex parasite if you have an overactive amount of Demodex on the surface of the scalp that is actually impairing your hair regrowth. And then on top of that, aloe is very, very anti-inflammatory. So if you combine those two with a scalp massage, quite frankly, I think that's a great idea, and it's probably very impactful. And if it's gonna work for you, then keep doing it, because everybody's an individual, and when you're an individual, you need to make sure that you're going ahead and obviously doing the right things for your particular situation, because everybody's a little different. So good for you to try that. The question is, can you stop androgenetic alopecia? Androgenetic alopecia is male or female pattern hair loss, and that is extremely easy to manage. In my opinion, it's one of the easiest things to manage if it's just AGA. Most of the time, there are nutritional components, there are inflammatory components, and it's not just AGA. AGA will actually just be a slow decline of overall volume over time. It takes years for AGA to present itself, and in this case, DHT blockers, like the one from Advanced Trichology, or dutasteride, finasteride, and topical things like the Folligrowth Follicular Performance Serum, minoxidil, low-level laser therapy, and that will enhance that growth. And last question right now, I'm suffering from a scalp buildup problem. What should I do? Please make a video on this. Well, here we go. A scalp buildup problem is typically due to seborrheic dermatitis. True scalp buildup, like you see on the TikToks and on Instagram, that is seborrheic dermatitis. So people are peeling off this thick layer of buildup on the scalp. That is because your body is not exfoliating the skin on the scalp properly, and it's creating all sorts of troubles. In that case, you need to use a couple things. You're going to go ahead and use a ketoconazole shampoo, typically 2 to 3 times a week, like Nizoral. You can get it at basically any major pharmacy. You're going to go ahead and hydrate the scalp, typically with shampoo and conditioner when you're not using the ketoconazole, like the Advanced Trichology shampoo and conditioner, as well as you're going to make sure you get your vitamin D, zinc, and ferritin to optimal ranges in the middle of the range. By doing that, you're going to improve your immune system, and you're going to essentially block some of the reasons for the scalp buildup, which is an overactive immune system. So you also obviously want to take care of your gut, and you also want to make sure that your hair is staying in your head during that process. So go ahead and do all of those things and make sure that you take care of your scalp as much as possible. If you've got questions, go ahead, put them down in the comments. I am happy to help in any way.